Okie dokie. Well, someone posted on my video about the Vinfast VF3 saying that there were specs, which threw me off because I thought this was just a concept car. Well, okay. So I go like, well, wait, what am I missing? So I look around, I find a couple of news sources have specs in them, and then I come across a press release from Vinfast that shows the specs. So here we go. Um, so I'm taking what they said the VF3 had and comparing it to in the pictures I'm showing my Tesla Model 3, but I'm saying rear wheel drive, so that's really my friend's Model 3. But anyway, I mean the same dimensions, all that stuff. It's just the rear wheel drive gets a little less mileage or range. All right, so length 126.6 inches. Yes, that is a short car compared to the Model 3 at 186. And if you see the picture with the tape measure next to it, you see it doesn't even go all the way back to the back door on the Model 3. The width, 66 inches compared to 73 inches. So you're giving up, wait, what? 7 inches, right? Am I doing it right? 7 inches? Now, basically, that would be somewhere around half of that, assuming they have a fifth seat belt in the back, you'd be giving up half that space that you would sit in. So yeah, to me, it's feeling more and more like it's a four-seater, period. The height at 65 inches, 63 inches, I'm sorry, 63 inches. So it's about 6 inches higher. It's equivalent to my Model Y. So that's reasonable height. The trunk with the rear seats folded down, or rear seat, 19 cubic feet. Compare that to the Model Y that has 21 cubic feet. So that's actually fairly close in size. The range is kind of confusing, but the best I could find was 125 miles estimate or targeted. And the Model 3 rear-wheel drive is 272 miles. So when I say this is a city car, I mean it's only just over 100 miles. Okay, I mean we don't know yet, although the one video I saw, it looked like it was a VF3 driving around, so they have some idea, I hope. But okay, whatever. Somewhere in one of the things I read, they're comparing it to a Mazda MX-30. A Mazda MX-30 is what we in America call a compliance car. Meaning, oh, yeah, it's electric, that's true, but you can only get 80, 90 miles out of it, and the charging is really poor. So that's not the car you want to compare to, I don't think. But anyway, this is the VF3, so we'll see what happens. Screen size is 10 inches. What's throwing me off is that they had a picture showing the front interior seats and the steering wheel, and it looked like that screen was behind the steering wheel. Now, maybe I just saw it wrong. I don't know. You can't make any real judgments until you actually get it in your hands to try it out. Okay, compare that to 16.4 inches for the Model 3. The rim size is 16 inches versus 19 inches on the sport wheels. So my friend has sport wheels on her car. I don't, it's just the way it came. Now, what does that really mean? It varies. From my viewpoint, the 16 inches means that there's more rubber for the tire. So it's going to absorb more bumps. So that's neither good nor bad. Well, absorbing bumps is good, but the size itself doesn't really mean a whole lot to me right now. And the seats I initially saw as 4, but some people were claiming 5. maybe when like I was 10 and my next youngest brother would have been 8 and the next brother would have been 7. Yes, the three of us could sit in the back seat. Now, there's no way two of me is going to sit in that back seat with anybody else. It's not going to fit. Okay, price. And this is, I think some people heard some things and they're running with it, but nobody really knows yet. Okay, the price was suggested to be around $20,000 and that it will be eligible for the full $7,500 tax credit in the U.S. So that looks like what they're doing, saying, I'm going to take some profit off of you, but you're going to get the money back in tax credit. Now, two things. First of all, to me, this car is only worth $12,000, $13,000, $14,000, unless they step it up in some way. My reference point is really the Wuling Mini, which is only in China and maybe a few other places. But that was supposedly 12,000 US in China. So I mean, whatever. We'll see what happens. I just have a feeling it's going to cost more than it should. But at $20,000, it's far cheaper than even the Bolt. Well, the Bolt's a lot more car than this, but we'll see what happens. And relatively speaking, compare rear-wheel drive or Model Y rear-wheel drive is currently available for sale in inventory for $35,000 in Palm Springs in Austin. Okay, status. The comment I got was production ready. Now, they did show a video showing the car driving around on the streets, so, well, you can do so much with video, right? But whatever. There was a video showing it driving around, and the indication was it'll be available in Vietnam late 2024. I don't know. And there was some suggestion that for the U.S. it'd be in 2025. What's not clear, I guess, well, if it's late 2025, I'm guessing they're saying basically when they build their plant in North Carolina, that's when they'll start making this car for the U.S. market. Now, they're also calling this a global car, so they're intending to make it available around the world. And of course, the Model 3 is available for purchase already. Whoops, wrong thing. And they're saying we'll have Android Auto and Apple Play, or Apple CarPlay, I'm sorry. So the U.S. website is vinfastauto.us. The main website for VinFast VinFast Auto is vinfastauto.com, though that appears to be in what I think of as Vietnamese. On YouTube, they do have a YouTube channel. It's called VinFast Official, but it's apparently in Vietnamese. Okay, and the sources I found for my information, I found 2 press releases, although I didn't check to see if they're the same or not. Car and Driver did an article on it. Zlapnik did an article about it. And then I found an article by a group, a website called evsea.net. They appear to be a Canadian-based outlet. I didn't really, well, the 2025 came from their website, but I'm uncomfortable with how accurate it could possibly be since some of the numbers they were throwing out didn't compute. Okay, so going back and saying, well, what does compute, Ray? So assuming, and that's a wild assumption actually, but assuming this car got 3 miles per kilowatt, that would put the battery size around 40 kilowatt hours. Now, if it gets miles like a truck, and it is a square thing, so I guess there's some possibility it might be that. It might be a much bigger battery, but there's not much room the Model 3, well, the Model 3, and I didn't look at the battery size in the Model 3 rear-wheel drive. The Model 3 Performance is a 77 kilowatt hour battery. Okay, so I mean, you can't fit the same number of batteries into this Vinfast VF3. So whatever, we'll see. What else do I want to say about this? It does appear there's going to be a range of colors, so that's good. Already gave you a rough guess what I think the battery might be. The question is, what will it be? Now, I saw somewhere in here there was a comment about having LG batteries, and I know LG was looking at making a battery plant somewhere in the US. I don't remember exactly where. So if LG makes a battery plant, VinFast buys the batteries from LG, and they have no Chinese source materials in that battery, in those batteries, then maybe they'll make the 7500. I don't know, we'll see. I mean, we're well over a year from making any progress on that discussion. The other thing you might want to know is, if you're in the US, well, where am I going to buy it? How am I going to get it serviced? So there was a press release on the VinFast website that said they've drawn up contracts or preliminary contracts, I don't remember the exact words, with 125, 124 dealers in the US. Okay, that sounds good, because, gee, I live in Lago Vista, which is just outside of Austin, Texas. The closest dealership I could find was Wichita, Kansas. Now, but enough for that. I did find some commentary that said there was going to be a dealership in Fort Worth and a dealership in Grapevine. So that's in DFW area of Texas. That's not terribly far away, just 3 hours. So maybe that'll work out. I just didn't find those dealerships. I mean, I found the dealer groups, but I didn't find the VinFast dealerships for them. And maybe there'll be more. I don't know. I apologize. I should have paid more attention when I went by the VinFast booth at Electrify Expo. But there you go. I hope this is somewhat interesting, somewhat helpful. While I've presented some discussion that is made up, the stuff that's here, other than availability and the price, these are all factual things. Yeah, you're right. The number of seats available, I think that's a question of interpretation until we actually get it. But like I said, you can't take two Rays and fit them and put somebody in between there. Okay? Yes, I weigh well over 200 pounds, and I'm just under 6 feet tall. Okay, whatever. There you go. Onward, upward. more interesting stuff to come.
I like having some kind of visual reference if it's at all possible whenever I'm comparing things. All right, so the VinFast VF3, it's 125 inches if I remember it right. That tape measure down there on the driveway represents 125 feet, 125 inches. So basically, you're cutting off the very last part of my back door. Oh my goodness. Well, that might make sense, actually. Come to think of it, I mean, basically it has a hood on it, and then it has a square box for the passenger compartment. It would make sense it cuts off about that much. It may not have as much front passenger room either. So yeah, that gives you that. Anyway, to give you an idea, okay, there's what's left. So it's basically like that, about that size, and it's about 5-6 inches, maybe 7 inches higher than the roof of my Model 3. There you go. Okay, I didn't measure it, but that VF3 is about 9 inches less wide than this Model 3. Wait a minute, they had big plastic fender things. Okay, whatever. That's going to be about more like that much less wide. Okay, so the back seat for reference. I've had Big Turkey with her mother and her grandmother all sitting in the back seat. They fit, but it was a little bit close. I mean, you couldn't put 3 of me in the back seat, no way. And it's not as wide. I don't know, but I look at it. I'd rather look at this as a 2+2. The VF3, that is. Yes, it has a back seat. It can hold 2 people. Yes, it might have seat belts for 3 people, but that's only for kids. Okay, whatever. Peace and harmony.